Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. The Logan School welcomes you all on this very special day, the day of continuation at our school. Welcome to friends, families, and visitors. Welcome to our students. But the most important welcome goes to the class you are about to see, the continuation class of 2008. We have such a poignant task ahead of us today. We must say goodbye to 25 wonderful students. We say farewell to 154 school years of sharing the joy of learning with these students, of work, of laughter, of pride and accomplishment, of marvelous experiences because of this institution we call school, and more specifically and lovingly, because of this institution we call the Logan School for Creative Learning. A poem that is often important to students in my class is Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold, her early leaves a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. As we celebrate both ends and beginnings today, I hope that each one of you who are continuing will hang tenaciously onto the gold of your lives. What is this day for those students whose efforts we are celebrating, for their families, and for the staff of the Logan School? It is a first. For families, it may be your first child's continuation ceremony, or the first time you will no longer have a child in elementary school. For students, this will be a first ceremony that will thrust you into an older world of first. First freshman class, first prep school, first date, first driver's license. For staff, it is the first time we say goodbye to these students from 3 advanced school classrooms. It is the first year in advanced school for my 2 colleagues. Because each of us is different, I have probably missed other firsts that are important to you today, and I hope you have now considered. Here at the Logan School, we offer you as many new experiences as possible, hoping that all these experiences will help you grow both academically and personally. This year, you may have run your first river or sailed for the first time, taken your first plane ride, published your first piece of writing, seen your first grizzly in the wild, or given your first speech. Where you have come from means you have experienced your first expo, sitting on a small chair, excited to show the projects you have created for your unit topics. Your first dramatic production, Shakespeare as a primary student perhaps, performing your own script in intermediate school, or acting in an advanced school play. You might have cooked your first meal, or created your first diorama. Remember those little dinosaurs hiding in construction paper strips of green? And finally, with your class, you might have spent your first night away from home in a tent. Having these first, however, is not enough. The test is what you will do with these experiences. Here are my hopes for what will happen to you when you do something for the first time. I hope you will learn from the experience and use that knowledge for times in the future when you need it again. It will be wonderful if you can always remember the excitement that one feels when doing something for the very first time, so you can repeat that feeling again and again. Use the joy of unknown exploration in all your endeavors. Most of all, enjoy every minute of all your firsts. Don't look back for comparison to other times. And don't look forward to wonder if times will be better tomorrow. But savor each of these first, because they, like each of you, are unique. If Robert Frost is correct and nothing gold can stay, then you and all of us would do well to follow the advice of this quote. Every day is an opportunity to make a new happy ending. I believe that as you hear these 25 speak, you will understand that they are certainly ready for more first. Thank you. Rich Rinaldi is chair of the Logan Board of Trustees. It is my pleasure to present to you our continuing class. My colleagues, Max McClay and Jamie Newton, do hereby certify that they have met the requirements of the Logan School for Creative Learning. I give you the class.
Thank you, Linda. And on behalf of the entire Logan community, which includes your fellow students, your parents, all of the teachers, all of the staff, all of the board members, and all of the alumni who ever graduated from Logan, I am proud to accept this class of continuing students. During your time at Logan, this entire community has contributed to your experience as a student. Today is a day for us to celebrate your accomplishments and a day for all of you to say thank you to your teachers and to your parents who have been your advocates and supporters during your time here at Logan. I know that each of you could make a long list of all the times your parents or others at the school volunteered on your behalf, or on the behalf of one of your classmates. This, I believe, is one of the most amazing things about the Logan community. Its willingness to make unselfish sacrifices on the behalf of its students. I've never heard one of those volunteers ask for any recognition for all of their efforts. In return for this selflessness, I want you all to do two things as you begin your high school careers. First, I'd ask you to continue to look for ways to serve others and volunteer in your new schools and in your communities. Just this week, I got an email from a student who continued several years ago asking if I would help him find ways to volunteer in the community, and it was the best email I received all week. Second, don't be afraid to be leaders. The reason this entire community has acted selflessly towards you is that we believe in your potential. We believe you have the capacity to become incredible adults, and we have very high expectations for each and every one of you. So on behalf of the entire community, we will be watching, and we know you'll make us proud. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for your remarks, Rich. And now we have a gift of music, our first gift of music for the day, from Anita's Logan Singers class. thank you again, Anita and the Logan Singers. And now it's my pleasure to introduce someone who you all know very well, our official wise old woman and the founder of the school, Miss Patty McKinnell.
Usually I get to say it's the end, but not today. I'm happy to be here today to celebrate with everyone, these 25 wondrous young people. This is as large a class as we've ever had continued, and they are absolutely amazing. And to honor these students, we have a special speaker today who will share with us. Stephanie has been here, Stephanie Welch, has been a caring and committed member of our community for many, many years now. She's enjoyed her role as a parent. She has supported us all through her work with PALS and other volunteer efforts. She served on the Board of Trustees for 7 years. Stephanie has been a leader here at Logan in every possible way. She was key in our success with the Capital Campaign. She's taught matrix classes and worked in the theater program. She's moved us forward by her example, her good nature, and her hard work. And she has been generous with her time and her talents in every conceivable manner. She always looked at the big picture. What does Logan need, rather than what do I want for Logan? And she has helped us move towards those goals that are all positive and important. And mostly, and my favorite part, is that she has laughed with us and she's kept the faith always. Stephanie has shared her warmth and her love. So please join me in welcoming our guest speaker for the 2008 continuation ceremony. Stephanie.
Thank you so much, Patty. And also thank you to Max and Linda and Jamie for inviting me to speak today. I was so honored when they asked me to do that, and I just thought, oh, this is so great, of course. And then I thought, oh, I have to write a speech. So one of the good things about having your child be old and ready to continue is you can go to them for advice now, too. So I said, well, Mikey, what do you think I should say? And he goes, well, make it short. No, wait, the first thing he said was, don't embarrass me. So, and then I said, okay, I'll keep it short, I know, but, what should I talk about? What should I say? He goes, nobody remembers these things, just dust off an old speech and reuse that. And I was feeling all insulted until I tried to remember an old speech, and I couldn't remember anything I said either, so we'll give it a shot, though. I did come up with a new speech, but before I start, I'd like to ask a favor of all of you. Would all of the adults who have ever taught any of these continuing students, and would all the parents of all the continuing students please rise so that the students can recognize you? Thank you all so much for being here and for all that you've given to them. So today, continuing class of 2008, I want you to think about a question. I want you to think about the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? This is a question you've probably heard many times already from your parents or your grandparents or some random adult who's trying to start a conversation and doesn't know what to say, or maybe even your friends. And it's a question that often comes up around times like this, graduations or continuations, because it's a time when you're looking forward and deciding what comes next, because you want to prepare yourself. Going to high school is an important transition for you, because once you get there, you're supposed to think about, what am I going to become? And in order to do that, what are the right courses I have to take, and what are the right grades I need to get if I want to get into that college, and what are the right extracurricular activities I have to be involved in, and what's the right way to do community service? Because I have to make sure that application stands out. What do you want to be when you grow up? It's a question that might irritate you. You're like, hey, I'm pretty grown up already, thanks. And stop implying I'm immature. It's a question that might scare you. You might think, I have no clue. I'm 14 or 13. I don't know what I want to be, and I don't really want to grow up. I like being a kid. I'm happy. Leave me alone. Or it's a question that might perplex you. You might think, I love to do so many things. How am I supposed to choose? I don't know. What do you want to be when you grow up? It's funny how when you hear that question, you kind of do this automatic translation. The question becomes, what are you going to do to make a living when you grow up, right? And you think, well, I don't know, like a doctor, an architect, a lawyer, an artist, a teacher, entrepreneur, a teacher entrepreneur like Patty, an alternative energy scientist. And what you do to make your living is a big deal. You're going to spend a lot of your time that way. You're going to pay the rent that way. And it makes a lot of sense that you're going to put a lot of effort into thinking, what is the answer to that question? What am I good at? What am I passionate about? And making sure that you follow your heart with that is good advice not only for enjoying your job, it's good advice for succeeding at it. Because there's something really inspirational about watching someone do their job who's good at it and who loves what they do, whether it's Barack Obama giving a speech, or Brett teaching you guys how to play badminton, or Ted shoveling the sidewalk in his shorts in the winter. What do you want to be when you grow up? You're lucky. If you'd been born in a different time or place, there wouldn't be a lot of point in even asking yourself that question. If you'd been born a slave in Egypt, you're going to do what the Pharaoh told you to do when you grew up, or probably a lot younger. If you'd been born on your same birthday, but in Myanmar, you would live in poverty, and your destiny would be determined by your government. Instead, you were born in America, a place where destiny is not a predetermined destination. It's a choice. It's a choice about who you want to be and how you want to get there. It's a place where we believe all our citizens should have an equal opportunity to be what they want to be when they grow up. What do you want to be when you grow up? It's actually really a bigger question than we often pause to give it credit for. What do you want to be? How will you define yourself? What relationships do you want? What will they look like? What kind of friend or partner or parent do you want to be? How do you want people to describe you? Happy, powerful, motivated, altruistic, analytical, loving, strong, compassionate, honest, funny, reliable? And what kind of citizen do you want to be? Do you want to sit back and let others dictate events? Or do you want to do your part to rise to meet the challenges that we face today? What do you want to be when you grow up? At Logan, you are architects of your own learning. Keep doing that. Don't let the pressure to do the right thing for your college application make you do things that aren't right for you. And I'm not saying ignore the requirements for college, Mikey, and I'm not saying don't care about your grades. But I do really hope that you'll all still keep learning because you want to know why and you want to know more and because it's interesting, not just because you're motivated by getting the good grade. But my deepest, deepest wish for all of you is that you use what you've learned at Logan to become architects of your own lives. You know how to make choices. You know how to handle responsibility. You've taken risks. You've met people from different walks of life all over the country. You've made a difference in the lives of your buddies and the lives of others less fortunate than you, and in the life of the school. You've worked hard. You've explored your passions. You've explored your friends, sorry. You've made friends. You've explored your passions and learned so much about yourself. These are all wonderful experiences to draw on to build your life. And while you're at it, why not a community and a country and a world where everyone has a chance to work hard, reach their dreams, and be what they want to be? In conclusion, I don't have any delusions that you'll all be able to remember a year from now anything I said, or really even that I was here at the microphone. But I do hope, as you're deciding what you want to be when you grow up, that you'll be guided by the incredible richness of your educational experience, the support of your teachers and parents and friends, the observations from your many trips around the city, state, and country, and the personal insight you've developed because you were lucky enough to be a student at this incredible school. Congratulations to you all. I love you guys, and I wish you the best. And now I would like to introduce a first-year AS teacher, although not a first-year Logan teacher, who has, how did you call your speech? Words of wisdom? No, he didn't say this. Words of wisdom from Jamie.
Yeah, I have to say I was a little intimidated by the announcement on the program that said words of wisdom, so I'll do my best and see how this goes. So, anyway, a reading from the Book of Walden, according to Thoreau. To be awake is to be alive. I have never yet met a man who was quite awake. How could I have looked him in the face? We must learn to reawaken and keep ourselves awake, not by mechanical aids, but by an infinite experience of the dawn, which does not forsake us in our soundest sleep. I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by a conscious endeavor. It is something to be able to paint a particular picture or to carve a statue, and so to make a few objects beautiful. But it is far more glorious to carve and paint the very atmosphere and medium through which we look, which morally we can do. To affect the quality of the day, that is the highest of arts. Every man is tasked to make his life, even in its details, worthy of the contemplation of his most elevated and critical hour. If we refused, or rather used up, such paltry information as we get, the oracles would distinctly inform us how this might be done. To be awake. I thought this would be a good thing to do in the middle of the program. But what does that really mean? To Thoreau, it was the difference between simply existing and being fully aware and alive, to have an appreciation of the world around you, to experience life fully, to utilize all of your senses, to appreciate what and who you have, to breathe it all in and to soak it all up. Many of us can be successful without ever actually having to be awake. Being intelligent individuals, each and every one of you, can achieve good grades and success with some effort on your part. But is this what will truly make you happy? All right, the good grades will probably help a little bit. But does one find happiness when they are immersed in their learning, when they are asking questions, challenging accepted opinions and ideas, experiencing what the world has to offer? This place has asked all of you to appreciate all that is great about learning, to constantly be aware of yourself and others, to care deeply about whatever it is you have set out to learn, to take the initiative and to follow through, to not only learn about a topic, but to experience it. My fondest wish for all of you, the continuing class of 2008, is that as you journey on, that you always remember what it means to be awake. Thank you. Now we have our second gift of music today from continuing students Abby Wright and Emma Unowski.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite songs for this time. So each year that I have to give this speech, it gets harder and harder for me because, of course, I know you all better, and it's harder and harder to see you go. But go you will, whether I or your parents like it or not. And to paraphrase a well-known author, oh, the places you will go. So rich and so varied and so right for each of you. Some of you are going off to all-girls schools, some of you to all-boys school, one to a boarding school. Others are going to Catholic schools, a wide range of public and private schools, and IB programs. And as always, some of you are accepted at Denver School of the Arts, and of course, many of you are headed to East. It is not surprising that the range is so great, for this class of 2008 is so amazingly rich in its interests and experiences. We have students who have begun here less than a year ago who are continuing, and others who have been here for 9 years. And one of you is the final student who began at the old Logan School down on Logan Street 10 years ago and represents the last of the students to go from there. We have students who are their first in their families to continue from Logan, and we have students who are the last in their families to continue from Logan. We have mathematicians, we have writers, we have musicians and athletes who engage in sports across the spectrum. We have movie makers and scientists, we have singers and dancers, we have chess masters and actors and actresses who will take your breath away. We have sailors and explorers. This year alone, these students have literally ventured from one corner of this country to the very other corner of this country. But above all, you are truly good people. All of you, all that one has to do is watch you when you're out on trips interacting with people you don't know, and the respect and the kindness that you show them, or when you're speaking for the endless times that Expo sometimes goes on for, over and over and over, explaining what you're doing and why you're doing it. But my favorite time, of course, is buddies. Never, ever have I seen a school where there's so much kindness and love and respect shown. And I see it with you all every day when you're meeting with your buddies. I am so proud of and inspired by all of you. And as we prepare to send you off to high school and places beyond, I have such a surge of confidence and excitement for what you will become and what you will help us become. And so now, Linda, Jamie, and Max, I present these children to you and ask that you take them through their final stage, their final ritual here at Logan. Thank you.
Maggie Burkhart.
Okay. When I was little, I believed in a sacred place, one that would be caring, loving, and fun. When I was 7, I found that place. It was the Logan School for Creative Learning. It took me to places I could never imagine, letting me be the driver, taking the wheel in my hands, and setting me free on my own adventure. I guess it would be like driver's ed. Logan teachers, friends, and staff would ride in the car next to me and take the wheel if I spun off. Buddies were a big part of my life. I guess they would be all the small towns you stop in on a road trip. They have some funny customs, but they were still sweet and caring. All my buddies had hilarious quirks, and their happiness made a lasting impression on me. I think I learned enough about butterflies with Portia and Rachel, India with Kira, and Antarctica with Lucy to last me a lifetime. You guys made Wednesdays some of the best days of the week. My teachers have gotten me through a lot. They have taken the wheel at just the right time, and I'm ever so grateful. They introduced me to Logan and made every bit of it special. Susan and Kate showed me what Logan was all about: units, math, writing, pretty much everything. Libby put up with my antics and made my 2 years with her very special. And Linda, you guided me through the most important years of my life. And after setbacks and efforts, you gave me my permit, as if to say, "You're ready now." Thank you. My math and science teachers also put up with a lot. Joel, I think you have heard more Uranus jokes than any human should to last them a lifetime. Eric, you made math fun. Even though it was gross at times, it still was pretty fun, and it made afternoons awesome. Joel, you went over topics over and over again, and after some time, I finally got them. You guys made math and science funny, original, and some of the best times I've ever had. And Joel, we need to find Nick. We never did the duct tape lab. Logan was so special to me. I was accepted from whom I was and grew up loving school. At times, I wanted to go over the weekends, too. I remember growing up with a lot of the continuing students. You guys put up with a lot. Thank you. You made sure I got out of Logan alive. I remember in Orlando once. I didn't get enough sleep one night, and you guys knew well enough that you should stay away from me if you wanted to come out of Orlando alive and with all your body parts. You knew when I get cranky, I get really cranky. You guys made some of the hardest times funny and original and bearable. Thank you. You're the best. I'd like to thank my family for putting up with all my moments and helping me along the way. When you needed to, you took the wheel. Mom and Dad, thanks for funding my career at Logan. I think it's one of the best investments you've ever made. Max. You made Logan, and every part of it, Maxish. I love you for that. You put a smile on my face, even when I was under expo stress, and somehow you made me roll on the floor. I was laughing so hard at times. And Bushi and Jaji, you were there every step of the way. Thank you guys. I love you so much. I'm glad I went to Logan. I've had some of my best experiences here. You all were a part of my 6-year adventure. You made every stop, twist, turn, fun, interesting, and overall amazing. If you ever need anything, I'll be willing to help. I want to give back to Logan as much as it has given to me. I've got my permit now, and I'm ready to start a new adventure, but I'll never forget the one I had at Logan. Thank you so much. I did it, and I'm ready. Before I leave, I would like to pass on some advice to younger kids and even some parents. Just think, when you are embarrassed, it's not as bad as having your brother shake his butt in front of the whole school. Max, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you all. I'm going to miss so much. Rock on!
Taylor Ivy.
Now, I'm going to tell you all a story to start. I remember the very first time I ever set foot in the school. All of the walls are made of cement bricks. None of the remodeling had even been started yet. I remember thinking to myself, do I really have to go to school here? Let me tell you, it didn't really get my hopes up when there were bars over all of the windows. Well, after 9 years in a school that was formerly a prison, I am here, in front of you, ending the greatest 9 years of my life. Right now, I would like to thank my parents for sending me to this school. Even though I didn't think it was all that great right off the bat, apparently they saw some light at the end of the tunnel. This school ended up being perfect for me and I am thankful of you two for believing in me and the school and to succeed. And on the subject of thanking my parents, I would like to thank my dad, but for a different reason. I would like to thank him for starting the rock ensemble. It was very fun for me to be with all of my friends and play music, which I love to do, with some structure, and to be taught by someone who really knows what he's talking about when it comes to music. I thought it was a good opportunity to have to work together to put on a good show, and I hope that it continues at the school for many years in the future. Over the past 3 years at the school, playing the concerts and winning the Battle of the Bands are two of the most memorable highlights in my mind. Now, there are too many people to name that have helped me get to this stage where I am right now. Hopefully, you know who you are. And if you don't, well, that's your problem. Even though I can't mention all of you, I would like to thank a few people. First of all, my teachers, all of which are still here, which I found is very unique for this school and these speeches. Lisa, thank you for kicking my Logan career off in a good way. You prepared me for the remaining years of Logan that I had, and are a teacher that I'll remember throughout my life. Susie, thank you for being an all-around good teacher. There are two things that I'll always remember about being in your class. One, the easy way of multiplying by nines that you taught me with my fingers. I think I'll use that for the rest of my life. And two, that you're missing a thumb. No offense. Libby, you were the first teacher to really teach me to be independent and learn what being uncurrent or current means. And I thank you for that. And also for teaching me that Topeka is the capital of Kansas, not Kansas City. Linda, thank you for planning the best trip I ever went on in my entire time at the school. Florida and amusement parks would not be the first place I would think of to take an 8th grade class, but you found a way to make it educational and super fun, and I thank you for that. And Max, I think you're the one teacher that I've ever had that sometimes fun comes before learning. And trust me, that is not a bad thing. I also want to thank you for being an awesome teacher, but as well as an awesome guy. And it's very unique, I find, that someone has both of those qualities. There's one last group of people I would like to thank. I know it's kind of weird, and I've never heard anyone thank this group of people in my entire time at Logan, but I would like to thank my big buddies, Sam Keene, Taylor Jones, and Travis Miller. I think that you guys taught me a lot of what I know, and also I want to thank you so much for just being a part of my Logan career. Since there are so many people that have gotten me to this point, there has to be some way that I can give back the knowledge that I have learned from everyone. Honestly, I think that is a very easy task to accomplish. As I make my way into the future, on to college and the rest of my life, there will be times wherein I will think of this place and all it has given me. If I use the knowledge and experience that I got from this place, it will help me along the way and remind me of my times here when I used the multiplication trick or traveled to Florida. Logan has done many things for me, but there is one thing that sticks out in my mind when I think of them all, and that is the ability to prepare me for the future, give me the advantages that I need, and just help me have confidence that I can succeed. All right, I have one last thank you. I want to thank the entire Logan community, how they have welcomed me and everyone into the school, and I want to thank them for the greatest 9 years of my life. Well, my life so far.
James Frazier.
Now let's see if I can find my speech. For 9 years, I have sat in the audience of this gym, listening to every continuing student speech. For 9 years, I've been taught so many things at this school. And for 9 years, I've waited somewhat patiently to drive around in the limo waiting for us outside. And after 9 years in a summer, I will be moving on to high school and beginning a new chapter of my life. This has been the best 9 years of my life. But then again, there was only 5 before them, and 3 of them I couldn't remember. One of my first memories of Logan was being in extended care from 3 to 6 o'clock on the dot. I've probably spent more time in extended care than I have with any of my teachers at Logan. When Brett was the one doing extended care, we would bet, not with actual money on course, on what time my dad would arrive at Logan. I almost always picked 5:59, and I usually won. I also remember walking around the 16th Street Mall with all my friends around Christmas time, trying to decide on a name for the walk signal when crossing a street. We eventually just settled on the Walkie Man. I have hundreds of memories at the school. To list them all would take days. But year after year, only two things have remained constant. Always getting in the top 3 of the orange sale, and the friendship between my classmates and I, and the bond I have formed with my teachers. Nancy, Jenny, Marissa, Libby, and Linda. Thank you, everyone, for being there when I needed you and just being a good friend. And Jeremy, I'm coming back in 2 years just so I can see you walk down that hallway in a tuxedo. Thank you.
Ben Riley.
If there is one thing I have learned during my time at Logan, it is how to learn while still having fun. My countless experiences on field trips, during LEAP programs, matrices, math, and LEAP have shown me that this is one of the most useful skills you can have. During the past year, I have become most aware of how important this is. Our second overnight to Virginia included a beefaroni competition and me getting buried up to my neck in sand. Granted, I didn't learn much during the beefaroni competition, and getting buried in the sand wasn't very educational. But earlier in the trip, we learned about the early settlers in Jamestown, Yorktown, and Williamsburg while still having fun. In the fall, our class went rafting down the San Juan River, and while having the time of our lives having water fights and falling into the river, we at the same time learned about the history and ecology of the people of the San Juan. One of our end-of-year assignments was called Circle of Pong, an activity where we not only learned somewhat about engineering and a lot about teamwork, but also spent a lot of time throwing ping pong balls at one another. Apart from class projects, there were a lot of situations where the learning was integrated with fun activities. In math, in the midst of learning seemingly dull topics, Joel, the teacher, would have us pull out our compasses and do something incredibly cool, like trisecting a line segment. But it seems as though we have been taking this fabulous program for granted. This is not surprising because many students haven't experienced much else. But in some other schools, it is rare when an experiment is performed or when an experiment or some other activity is performed. Here at Logan, a science matrix is expected to perform an experiment or fun activity at least every other class. This has shown me how truly special I am to have been able to go to a school where learning with fun is so prioritized. If this is the one thing, heaven forbid, that I take from Logan, then at least my time here will not have been wasted. Thank you.
Rachel Martin.
I remember my first year at Logan pretty well. There was this one day, I was sitting in my mustard-colored 8-inch by 8-inch by 8-inch chair at one of those tables that people in AS still struggle to squash their knees under every year during buddies. A couple of friends were with me, and we were merrily talking while making some sort of craft. I don't remember what. One of my friends was talking to someone about what they were going to do when they grew up. He said he wanted to be a muffin. He left the school after that first year, so I don't know if he ever became a muffin or not. But I do know that Logan would have been one of the few places in the world to not only support him fully, but also to celebrate his unique dreams. Dreams are all over the place in Logan, but where I've drawn my own dreams the most from is theater. It all began when I was in entry primary, walking into the theater once or twice a week with my class and playing games. There's one particular game I remember the most. It's called Toy Shop, and the idea is that you get to be any toy in the entire world you want to be.
You can be a chess set, you can be a Tonka train, you can be a dinosaur figurine, you can be Barbie, anything. The world in that moment is flipped over, and your imagination is then given license to flourish. To David Payne, I will never forget you. You are forever the man who, instead of frowning and remaining ignorant of his students' dreams, smiled and encouraged them to stretch their minds even farther. The sole thing that has always struck me about being special at Logan is not the individuality or emphasis on creativity, even though those are definitely immeasurably important values here. What has stood out even more is the constant teaching of how to learn. The teachers at Logan never say, here's your book, read this chapter, and write a report. Instead, they say, what do you want to learn? To Linda Bai, you have changed the way I think about assignments since the 6th grade. You will always be to me the woman who first opened my eyes to the endless possibilities of topics to learn about, the bottomless list of ways you can learn, and the infinite importance of staying alert enough every day to look outside and learn. A couple of Sundays ago, at about 8 p.m., I began to think about the mountainous amount of homework I had yet to accomplish before 8:30 in the morning the next day. I remembered with a pang of guilt in the pit of my stomach that I had yet to bake lemon squares for a test I was giving the following day, and had still not picked up the mix from the grocery store. My mother, when she heard this news, did not yell, did not scream, did not kick, did not shout. She simply pursed her lips, blinked at me, and stood still for a solid 20 seconds. To my mother, my father, and even on occasion my brother, you are my Superman, my Superwoman, and my Superbrother. You deserve half of the full marks Joel has ever given me, and if you had a nickel for every time the word current was on my agenda due to you, you'd be very wealthy. And last, but obviously not least, to the continuing class of 2008, and more specifically, my friends. You all are what I will miss the most when I leave this school. You're incredible in every way, shape, and form. You know how much you mean to me. I love you to the moon and back. Thank you.
Lauren Tenorio.
I didn't know how to start this speech or even what to say in it, so this is what I got. I've been at Logan for 3 years, and they've been the most interesting and very educational ones of my life. The most interesting and best parts of Logan were the long overnight trips where we'd learn about the area where we were out in the field. They took me to the Grand Canyon, Lake Powell, Orlando, and Virginia to see the Chesapeake Bay, all for the first times in my life. There are so many people that I'd like to thank right now, but it'd take too long to thank every single one. So I'll just tell you about my most memorable and favorite moments here at Logan. Obviously, they were the overnights, but my most favorite was with Linda's class, where we went to the Grand Canyon. This was my first long overnight where I spent the most time away from my family and away from home. I loved being there and learning about all the different ways that Logan students would take notes or chat with other people. And they would always help me however they could. If I didn't know how to do something, they wouldn't just let me struggle and let me try to figure it out. They would actually help me with it. And they would help me if I just needed help lifting something or carrying something somewhere else. I've loved Logan for all the years I've been here, and I've learned a lot in both education and experience. I learned 2 different languages, all kinds of things in my 6 units. I learned how to play 3 different sports, and many different things in my matrices. Finally, I'd like to thank all of my teachers and their assistants, my math teachers, and finally my matrix teachers. You have all helped me grow and become a better student and person, even if it doesn't quite show it yet. And I'll take all the memories with me to high school and college. As St. Lawrence had said, "Verto mihi super ego sum perfectus in hoc." Turn me over, I'm done on this side. Thank you.
Abby Wright.
The day that I visited Logan, I was very scared, worried, and not a happy camper. I was quite upset when my parents told me that they were looking into a different school for me. Once I stepped into the calm, relaxed, and friendly classroom, I smiled. This eccentric, unique, and exquisite school was for me. I started Logan in 3rd grade, and I loved it. I actually had a couple friends, and I could study what I wanted to, which was rodents. And I got to have a big buddy come down and help me with my unit project. It's now been 6 years, and I still love Logan. I love it for its teachers and their help, patience, kindness, humor, and understanding. I love Logan for the community and how considerate and thoughtful everybody is. I love this school for the learning style and that we can pick our own topics of study. I love Logan for its absolutely amazing field trips and all the crazy things that we learn while on them. Since I came to this school, I have become a very different person. I am excited to learn because I get to educate myself about subjects that I find interesting. I get to go to matrices and be in plays and bands. I get to call my crazy teachers by their first names and talk to them about soccer practice or the new shirt I bought. I have learned huge amounts of information here during my time here. I have learned that shaving cream fights are fun. Doing your work on time ends up being a better decision. Shading is hard. Cursive Z's are a pain. Obeying your teacher is a must, and it's not a good idea to wear a skirt on yoga days. And that whining does not work. Not only has Logan taught me things about science, math, history, and literature, but I also have learned how to love and to be a respectful young woman. Logan has prepared me well for East High School and for my later successful life. I want to say thank you to my parents for looking into Logan, even though I was obviously angry, and for putting up with me. Thank you, everybody. I love you all.